Welcome to a new video in my home automation series, and accidentally I received a second Annke camera as well. I'm saying accidentally because it was sent by two different teams within Annke. I just recently reviewed, actually I recently published the NCPT 500, which is like a night vision camera, and this is the Crater Pro, which is more like the smart home line of cameras, and the other one was more of the like the general security, home security camera product. So this is called the Crater Pro, and just a couple of months ago I reviewed the Crater, which was the first camera in the smart home lineup, and now it is followed up with the Crater Pro. But actually this is quite a different camera in multiple ways. I mean, obviously it has been enhanced in a lot of specs, but I think it also uses a different architecture and system, because the application that it uses is different. And what I was told, that they are migrating all their smart home products to this new system and new mobile application that this Crater Pro uses. I'm going to have a short segment comparing the Crater, or the original one, and the Pro as well, and for whatever reason I just can't find it. I'm pretty sure once I'm done with the video I will be able to find the box for the Crater, and I could do like a side-by-side comparison, but it's just not with me for whatever reason. I must have put it in a really good place. So this Crater Pro camera is also like a smart home security camera. So this is more like a simplified user interface, a more easy to understand user interface. It has all the the basic features to configure. It doesn't have all the very technical things that you would configure in a, I would say, proper IP camera. This is more geared towards the home use and the consumer use, and this being an indoor camera is more like internal monitoring. And you can even set it up to be as your baby monitor, because it has all the features, the usual, night vision, motion tracking, local recording, two-way audio, not just motion detection, but also human detection and motion tracking as well. So you can see, I'm going to show you some examples how it is able to track me as I move across the room. Of course, once you move into the view of the camera. And in order for me to move on with the actual review, let me just go through the the basics. So as you can see, this is a really small thing, and it's also fairly light, and it has a top which is rotates 360, and I think the vertical angle is like 60 degrees, and it comes with an adapter. So this is the the European adapter, but obviously, if you order it from the US or the UK, you would get different plugs. One comment I have for this specific adapter, that it has an unfortunate whining noise. I'm not sure if it's sort of like this high-pitched whining. I don't know whether it's this particular model or all of these. So if you are planning to use this in, like, say, a bedroom, you might want to find your own power adapter, but it's just a regular 5-volt 1 amp. So, and then there is a fairly long USB lead provided in order to power the camera, and pretty much the only thing you have is just have to plug it in. You plug it on the wall and you're ready to go. There is one other thing you have to be aware, is that if you spin this camera up, then you have access to a micro SD card, so that's for local storage, and also like a reset button. So you just have to gently spin it up against the motor inside, or you power it up and then you just pan it up, and then the camera does the whole thing for you. Well, besides this, there is a mount, so you can screw it on the wall, and this goes on to the bottom like this, and you get mounting hardware as well, and a documentation which comes in 3 different languages, if I remember correctly. English, German, French, well, at least the one that I've received, and it just goes through the basics of setting it up and the basic configuration. It's not going to delve into the details, but it should be enough for you to get started. And the whole thing comes in this box. It's not a big box. It has all the things that you need to do, and it says it works with Alexa. Well, I don't have an Alexa, so I won't be able to test that functionality. Let's have a quick look at the lineup, what I previously mentioned. So all the smart home stuff is under the smart home. So you can see that my first camera that I reviewed was the Crater, and then it looks like there was a Crater 2 as well, and now this is the Crater Pro that I'm reviewing right now, and there are two more products specific for baby monitoring. And I mean, I can see that the product has evolved, and so the first one was like just an HD camera, but it also had the same sort of features, pan and tilt, the two-way audio, the human motion detection, alarms, local storage, and it also worked with Alexa. And then the second one came around, and then it pretty much had the same features, but then the camera got improved because it has now a 3 megapixel camera. The full HD is only like I think it's a 2 megapixel camera. And just by looking at the description, these screenshots, I can see that this is the icon for the new My Annke application. So that's when they switch for this new My Annke application. This one was using an Annke Smart or something similar called application, but in my review I just used the Tuya Smart app because I just realized that that's just a rebranded Tuya Smart app. And then finally we got to the Pro model, which has a 4 megapixel camera. So again, an up in the camera quality, but then there are some other changes as well. So they moved to a dual band Wi-Fi, so it works on 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz as well. Yes, and 4 megapixel camera, and the PT and the Alexa is the same. And again, the rest of the features are pretty much the same. I mean, probably there are some differences, but in terms of the main key points in the features are the same. The only thing which I definitely want to mention is the price. So when I have seen the the first Crater, it was, I think probably that was $29.99, and I thought that was probably already a really good price, but it is sold for $15 at the moment. I mean, $15, you get all these features. Okay, it's an indoor camera. Okay, it's only full HD. But if you want some simple monitoring, something in the inside, like, or even something, fairly technical, maybe you can just place it next to your 3D printer and then you can just monitor how it 3D prints. I mean, you can't buy even an ESP32 with a camera for a cheaper price than that. So, well, especially now, I think it's still a good deal. And now with the, the 2 model, the price has gone up, so it was 35, and you can see it's now 30. But then I think there is a bigger jump here for the for the Pro model. So it is sold for $50 at the moment. Maybe if you look Amazon or somewhere else, it could be yours for cheaper, or maybe there is a special deal. But that's sort of like the regular price for this model. So it's definitely not that sort of like dirt cheap bargain price, but you are getting more functionality, more advanced camera, more Wi-Fi. Probably the processor is also a little bit stronger, which means that all this human detection, sound detection, and the tracking is going to be a little bit better than the original camera. So I have the camera plugged in now, and then you can see that it sort of like moves around because it's already set up for human tracking, and then I'm just moving in front of it. But first, I wanted to show you this application. This is called the My Annke. So this is the new application for all their, smart cameras, and you can tell that it's fairly new because it has only 10K downloads. And well, the reviews are fairly mixed at the moment. I don't know how well, and also these reviews are, well, some of them are fairly recent, some of them are older, but I have to say that I've looked at some of these negative comments, but I haven't really noticed them. But maybe I'm just not using this device for a long time. But in order to get your camera up and running, you have to download this application. And of course, well, it has an account, so you have to create an account. You provide your email address, and then you will get a security code for that email address. So you put it in, and then your account will be created. And once you have done that, you can just add a new camera. So, well, there is only one device type supported at the moment, so you select smart cameras, and then you will go through like a setup process. It was pretty much the same with the the previous camera as well. So you will be shown every single step that what you need to do, and then you can read the QR code, and the QR code on this camera is on the underside of the camera. So you just scan that, and then you would be able to add the camera. So it's fairly simple process, nothing new about that. And yeah, and now you are straight in. So you can just click, and that's me. No, that's the camera. Hey, I'm over here. So you can see how this human detection and also the human tracking works. It works, I have to say, it's fairly okay. But then obviously it really depends. Like if you are really close to the camera and you quickly move out of the frame, then it's not going to detect you. But then it looks like that my Panasonic camera has a really human looking face because it's tracking my camera most often. But well, it is a small camera, probably with a small processor, so you can't expect this human tracking to be work flawlessly and work all the time, but it seems to be doing a fairly good job. As I move around, it follows me. I'm going to have a couple of sample footage that you can see, and of course the movement is a little bit like it's not a perfectly smooth movement, but that's what you get with this camera. Let me go through the features here on this screen. So you can see that it shows you the bandwidth that it uses. So it uses probably a fairly low resolution for this because 9K is not a lot, but then that would be good if you're using it over 3G because it's not going to use an awful lot of data. So just below the screen you have buttons for the two-way audio, and you have also you can set the night mode to be day or night or auto, and again you have the resolution, the video quality is set here as well, and then you can also rotate the screen to landscape. And under this bar you have again a set of buttons, where you can save recordings to your phone, and then save a picture to your phone. Long press for text to talk to the camera, which is not going to work because I have screen recording turned on. And by the way, you can see all this notification that there is a human detection, and you also have this alarm, which is basically just going to sound the siren from the camera, from the speaker. It's a feature that I never use. And then the main part of the screen is only used for this cloud and the SD card, so you can see what's on your local storage and what's on your cloud. So you can enable cloud storage, which obviously you have to pay for, but then you can just buy your SD card and insert into it, and of course you would be able to see the SD card recordings even if you are away and you are using the camera on 4G. So probably the only reason you would buy, the only reason I would buy cloud if I would be concerned that somebody is going to nick the camera with the SD card on it, and then of course my recordings would be gone. But if you have cloud, then you have your recordings backed up. But otherwise I just wouldn't buy. I personally wouldn't. And then you can use the screen to rotate the camera. So now I rotate it away from me, so it's not going to do human detection, but you can see that basically swiping on the preview, you can make the camera pan up and down. Well, you're not going to see it in here because it's facing away. But let me. Oh, I think we reached the extent of the movement, because it's basically 360 degrees, and probably that's the dead point here, which is facing at the moment. So let me just, oh no, not that way, the other way. I always tend to move it the other direction that I'm supposed to. Okay, I just don't want to see too much. Yeah, too much. And now it reached the extent and it's just making funny noises. Okay, okay, and let's pan down. So at least you can see the movement now. So let's look out the window. No, that's not a human. Okay, so it looks like camera is, I don't know, maybe the model was trained on people with wearing glasses, and this front cover of the camera maybe looks like somebody wearing glasses. So that's the basic user interface. You have all the most common features here. Just to operate the camera, you don't have a separate PTZ wheel or a PT wheel, but you can just use your finger on this screen to move it around. So that was all the online viewing and checking your camera whilst you're away. So we have a feature here which lets us to look at all the different recordings, and yeah, I mean, that just works fine. You pick one and then you click, and then you can review the recordings. Okay, no, I think I wanted to pick this one. Yeah, so I think this is another feature of the human tracking. So I had it in a separate way, and I was just powering it up. Actually, I like the fact that in the playback mode, it doesn't show seconds, it shows the actual time when it was taken. And now you can see how it sort of like tracks me as I move along across the room. And since I was moving further away from the camera, it was easier for it to track me. But then I think there are some cases where I just move out and then it completely loses me because I was just moving too fast out of the frame. Okay, and oh, sorry, yeah, I wanted to. So you can also turn on the audio, you can download it, and you can delete the recordings as well. And here in when you are in this sort of other view, where instead of looking at the recordings, you want to look at the timeline. What I like here is that you can filter your recordings based on motion recordings or sound recordings or human detection. So again, it makes it easier for you to look at what the camera was seeing. And you can just slide across the viewfinder and then it's going to show you. Yeah, I was eating some snacks at this point. So I think it's easy to control this user interface, and I also like the fact that we have these several different recordings. And they actually, so the human and the motion actually has slightly different colors and also the sound, but I think most of these are now, oh no, actually I turned on the generic motion detection, so it's only human. So even from the colors you can tell what type of recording it was. So now you can see that I sort of moved out of the frame fairly quickly, so it did not track me. But that's okay. You have to be aware of that when you're placing the camera. And let's go through the settings. So as I said, it's more like, smart home, very consumer camera. So we are not going to see an awful lot of stuff here. So obviously you can, change the camera name, and then you can do a device upgrade if there is a firmware update. You can set the time zone, but it did default automatically to the correct one. You can restart. You can see very simple features. The screen is not really complicated. There is a separate password that you can set for a camera. You can change it here. You can share the device. Again, you can create another account and then share the device to that account. And let's get to the specific stuff. So first of all, you have seen how I received the notifications on my phone. So again, you can restrict it to only tell you human detections, or you can just turn off altogether if it's too much. And you can also set up the various recording ways. So I set up that it records all the different motion detections, and then it doesn't record continuous recording. So you can do continuous recording as well. And there is this superior recording mode, and the text is, I can't really understand this, but obviously that would be like a higher quality recording, which I just left it on the default setting. And you have options for the storage, which is, it's just fine. You can format the camera in here, the SD card here. So if you don't want, or if your SD card has some stuff on it, you can just format it. Yeah, you can connect it to an NVR if you want that. And I haven't tested this, and I'm not really sure what type of NVRs are going to be supported here. But yeah, I don't have an awful lot of options here. Maybe it auto detects if there is an N-key NVR on the network, which I don't have, so this feature is not enabled for me. But again, that's another local recording option. And of course, you have the whole cloud storage, and I'm guessing it's going to load a page here where you can select the different plans, and yeah, and you can set up your account and then pay for some sort of subscription. It doesn't look like that this page is loading, or at least it doesn't load very quickly. Let me go back to settings. Let's try again this time. And yeah, I mean, it's a good way for them to get some reoccurring revenue. I've never paid for cloud storage because I haven't reviewed any camera which only had cloud storage option. There was always like a local storage option available as well. In the network, we find a lot of configuration stuff which is not relevant for this camera. For example, this doesn't have an Ethernet port, so there is no point you know, coming in here. It doesn't really do anything. They should have really removed this option. You also have the Wi-Fi option, so you can see, you know, change your Wi-Fi. You can set manual IP if you want. And you can set DNS settings, but you don't really have to bother with that because as part of the setup process, this is going to be set up for you automatically. So you don't have to come here. There is also network diagnostics if it tells you whether the issue is with your home network or with your internet connection. You can flip the screen if you're mounting it upside down on the ceiling, and you can set some values for the OSD, how the date is going to be displayed, whether it's a 24-hour system, whether to display the name of the device or yeah, some other text. So again, I just left this on default, and I think this is the default date format that is given by this camera. And actually the specific things start from this more section. And again, these settings are going to be fairly simple. So as we have seen before, the camera can trigger on sound, on motion, or human detection. So you have the option for the, this is the generic sound. So if you're using the two-way audio, you can see, you can set up how loud the speaker is going to be in the mic. And okay, that's frequency, that's 50, 60 hertz. This is more like a picture setting, so it syncs up with the video lights. And now we can see the first one for the motion detection. So first of all, you can enable or disable this tracking where the camera moves to track you, and you can set up the motion detection sensitivity. So that's just a general motion detection sensitivity. And it's I think it's a good idea that you can do one for day and night. So maybe at night when you have some more detection, you can just lower the sensitivity here. If it's picking up a lot of, I don't know, something from the infrared. Since it's an indoor camera, I don't think it's going to be such an issue, but you never know. And then you have the human detection. So that's a specific, on top of the motion detection, that when it's able to tell that it is a human, and you can see that there's no settings here, you just enable or disable it, or there's no additional setting. And that's the thing for the sound detection. So again, you can set it to detect on sound, and you can set a threshold. So again, let's say if you are using it for a baby monitoring camera, then obviously you can enable this, you can set it to a low threshold, and if the baby cries up, then it will start recording. And also it can send you a notification as well. And then finally, this alarm is the thing that I always turn off. That's the alarm sound, or the siren sound, which comes off from the speaker. And you can see that it's going to be a tone, or it's going to be some just beeps. So yeah, I definitely don't want that. And you can set up Alexa Amazon integration, so you will initiate the binding from here, which I can't show you because I don't have any Alexa devices. And then finally, you can delete the device. So as you can see, it's a very simple setting, but it is enough to get the basic things configured and also do some fine tuning, especially with the motion detection, so it doesn't send you a lot of false triggers. But yeah, Oh, that's pretty much it. And you can see, you know, this human detection works. I'm not even completely in the frame, but somehow it managed to detect me as a human, unless it detected the camera first and thought that's a human, that's somebody wearing a single ocular or something. So I think this would be my review of this Annke Crater Pro. Again, quick short video of a simple smart camera. It's easy to set up. It has plenty of features, but simple features that you can quickly configure and get things started. So if you are interested in this camera, there's going to be purchasing links down in the video description. But that will be all for today. Thanks for watching and hopefully see you next video.